Hey, how's it going? I haven't vlogged in like 2.5 months. It's been forever. How are you guys on this channel? Is there even a you guys on this channel anymore? I hope so. I wanted to finally do a vlog and just kind of update you guys on life a little bit and really get into everything that's been going on and why I haven't vlogged. But before I talk about all the boring stuff, I don't want any of you guys to stick around for anything you're not interested in, so we're going to get all the really cool stuff out of the way first. So, first things first, I shaved. That happened. I'll talk about that in a second. But Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2 figures that I've been working on, and I just finally posted the preview photo over on the Instagram and the Twitter and the Facebook, and it's been great. But even though I put a ton of work into their helmets, and by a ton, I mean I'm going to show you some Patreon-only content really quick to give you an idea. I mean a ton of work. It was insane, the modding I had to do over a period of time to pull off these helmets, and so it was definitely kind of a shame to see that so many, like a really good portion of people were not overly fond of Ant-Man's helmet. And I mean, totally fair, this preview photo is super flashy and super cool looking, but it makes them kind of, they're coming down at a downward angle, the two of them, and so it definitely kind of looks a little bit weird, makes their helmets appear bigger than they actually are. So what I did was I posted a series of like 360 angles on my story to really clarify and make, give everybody a, this is so red, to give everybody a really clear look at how they turned out with, without any BS, no like weird angles. You can just see them straight on. Normally something I don't do when, before the showcase, but yeah, Ant-Man's helmet really threw a lot of people off, and I realized that's really not going to help too much either, because that's super out of focus. But I definitely recommend checking out my Instagram. I'll have all these posts that I'm talking about in the highlight over there. But yeah, I recorded some 360 shots, and personally, I don't really agree that the helmet is overly too big. I'm actually pretty proud of it, and I think it turned out great. I actually managed to glue in motorcycle helmets, like I said at the very start of the process, and basically shape my own lenses for Ant-Man this time, as opposed to them being sort of like the round solid color that I had them as originally. So I'm really happy with it personally. And then also the Wasp is another figure, of course, that I've been working on. Here's Hope, and the helmet was completely done. Both of their helmets were by the time I made the photo, and so you can see the yellow visor installed in there and all the sculpting that went on over the top. I honestly think these might be the best helmets I've ever made, and I'm so happy with them, because my Black Panther helmets are also really cool, but those can't be removed. With these, you can still remove the helmets. I'm not actually going to do it in, like, with one hand and go through all the effort, but you'll see it in the showcase. So yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm so happy with how those figures are turning out, and it's great to finally have moved on past Killmonger to Okoye. I feel like I was working on those figures forever because of how detailed they were. Those paint jobs were pretty intense. So yeah, and Ant-Man and the Wasp was okay. The movie was not amazing. I definitely still prefer the first. There were a lot of side characters and subplots, and the color that really detoured from the main story. I feel like I was being dragged out of the movie at certain points, and also the color grading was pretty bad, and a lot of the plot with Janet was kind of cobbled together, I feel. But at least the humor was on point. All the actors were doing amazing performances, continuing the story. Definitely felt like something of a filler movie, but Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp was amazing. Paul Rudd definitely getting sidelined just a little bit, which was okay. He had his entire movie, and giving Hope more of the focus in this movie, I honestly feel like was the right move. But I do wish that Scott would have contributed a little bit more, to the story than he did, because in the first one, he really, took the lead in getting everything done, whereas I don't really feel like a decent enough balance was struck amongst the two leads. which is fine. It ultimately doesn't matter because all of Hope's sequences and everything that she pulled off throughout the movie were great. I just kind of wish Scott had a little bit more to do and contribute, like I said. So, yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp was alright. It was fine. I'm not making Ghost. I didn't really find her character to be overly compelling. I mean, just because she had a backstory doesn't necessarily mean it's the greatest, you know, like a fantastic villain worth me making a figure. So I really enjoyed her character, but I just didn't walk out of the movie feeling the urge to make her. Not going to get into spoilers, not going to do a review. But yeah, so other stuff before I start talking about the boring stuff. Venom. Now that I'm working on Ant-Man and the Wasp, it is time to finally start teasing my next project after this, and it will very likely be Venom. Not by release, because obviously Ant-Man and the Wasp has not been, these figures were not prepared to, you know, to go out and be posted by release. That was more of an Infinity War thing. I'm not really going to commit to release to too many release dates from now on. Just for the big events like Avengers 4 and different things like that, where I'll really commit to release dates. But you know, for now, Venom will probably be something that I do like maybe toward the end of July. Actually, toward the end of July. No, it'll be sometime in August that I'll do Venom figures. And when I say figures, I mean just him. It'll be just him for sure. Because even though I'm not necessarily overly excited for the film, he does look pretty damn cool. So that's probably the only reason I want to actually make Tom Hardy's Venom, to be totally honest with you. And he'll also look pretty cool stacked up next to my Spider-Man figures. So yeah, but apart from that, I'm going to be posting a making of video over on the main channel for Ant-Man and the Wasp pretty soon here as I start to work toward wrapping up those two figures and getting ready for the showcase next week. And I also have been, I'll probably post another preview photo or two before the showcase. And then over on Patreon, I'll obviously keep posting progress updates until completion, and then all the early progress of Venom and all the, you know, that in future figures as I start to move forward. And once I start working on Venom, I think I've got something pretty cool to announce in regards to what I'll be doing for the rest of the year, building up to December, which is pretty much the only other superhero movie that's going to be coming out this year after Venom, Aquaman. So I've got a whole, you know, series, you know, like 3 to 4 months in between Venom and Aquaman, where I'm going to be making quite a few figures for some pretty cool stuff that is pretty close to my heart. So yeah, teasers. Figures, upcoming figures. It's crazy. I didn't even mention Wasp's wings. Those are pretty hard to make, by the way. I'll get into all that more in the actual videos. But yeah, so now you can click away if you want. But if you really want to listen to me for like another 10 minutes, then by all means. Why have I not vlogged? Am I going to continue vlogging? Is MGF Extra really even a thing? Why are you even here? The reason I haven't been vlogging is basically been, it hasn't been a priority for me. You know, when it comes to the free time that I have during the day, you know, when it comes to like working on everything that goes into MGF Customs, making the figures and requires an untold number of hours that I never actually add up. But I mean, I'll be working on, you know, just like painting the dotted pattern for Wasp and like her arms, and suddenly the entire day has gone by and I'm only halfway done on, you know, the goal that I set out for that day. It is an incredible amount of hours making minifigures, as all other customizers know. And so when I'm doing that, when I'm you know, shooting the videos and editing and making the photos that also require a lot of time to make, especially those really big edits that have all the figures in them. Even just this one photo of Ant-Man and the Wasp took probably 2.5 to 3 hours to edit together. It's more complicated than you would think to make the photos that I do over on social media. Vlogging just kind of hits the back burner, you know, because by its very name, MGF Extra, all these years since 2011, has always been extra vlogs, extra content, and you know, yeah, I've been able to maintain it consistently, but I don't know that I can, you know, that, and it's not like I've been doing it consistently for the last, you know, year and a half, couple years anyway, but now, you know, I'm dropping off more and more each time I vlog, and I don't think I'm ever going to stop vlogging. It's just, I'm not going to guarantee a schedule, because you might have noticed when it comes to vlogs, I also started posting them to the main channel, a couple of them, while I was working on Infinity War minifigures. And I probably should have done the same when I was working on Killmonger. I think that was pretty vlog-worthy for the main channel. But I didn't think of it because, again, vlogging just kind of hits the back of my mind, and I don't really think about it as much. Not to say that I don't appreciate all of you guys over here on MGF Extra who have always kept up with these fun little vlogs that I've done over the years that last for anywhere from 10 to 40 minutes, sometimes 50 if I was getting pretty insane. But yeah, it's just it was that, and then the other half of the reason, the reasons, whatever, was because of the internet. We moved. You might have noticed from the change in scenery and the really ugly ladder back there. Ignore that. I'm still working on putting stuff up. We moved 15 minutes out into the country, as you might have known, when Infinity War came out. And so the internet out here is horrendous. I've said before, it took 8 hours to upload the Infinity War showcase. It takes up to an hour and a half to 2-3 hours to upload a video that, like a 5-minute video. And while this is going on, while I upload videos, the shitty network that we have is crippled. I mean, you can barely load pages in this time, and which is why I would always, mostly do it in the middle of the night. But, it's just not something that came to the forefront of my mind, recording vlogs and just, getting them uploading each night to go up the next day. It's just not a process that I really ever grew accustomed to. And so I just never really vlogged as much because of how bad the internet has been. This is also why I've been focusing on shorter videos. On the main channel you've been seeing anywhere from 5 to 12-minute videos, ever since Infinity War came out. And that's also because a lot of the stuff I've been covering hasn't really required a whole lot of time. It hasn't, it's nothing that's really needed to be overly extensive, but it's definitely helped because if I was uploading anything longer, I mean, it would just become even worse. Thankfully, the 2-month process that has been required for AT&T, or not AT&T, we've been using AT&T, and like I said, the internet they've been giving us has been bare bones. But the internet provider that we're going with now, they finally completed construction and getting all their permits and everything they needed to do to get, to run a cable up the massive hill that we also now live on, to finally install decent internet, like what we had in the apartment where where it was super fast, like, I don't even remember the speeds, but it was pretty great, and it would take no time at all to upload a video. It's not like Google Fiber or anything, but it's the next best thing, I think, for us anyway. And so finally, we're getting service installed tomorrow. They were actually ready to do it June 19th, but they gave us one phone call, a phone call that apparently we missed. And so they just didn't call us again. They were not assertive about it, and that was that. We've just been sitting in limbo, not knowing what's been going on with our service installation for the last 2 weeks. And basically, the last representative we spoke to before June 19th said, just call around July 5th. That's when we'll really know for sure. That's when the 60-day window will be up. And it's like, Jesus. That's what we did, and then we found out they were ready for us all this time. So yeah, that's a big reason why I haven't been vlogging, is because of how crippling it is to our already piece of shit network. And so, if I do continue vlogging, I just don't, I'm not going to promise a schedule or say that I'm going to start doing it more. I'll just vlog like this, whenever. I'll try to be better. I always say that, but we'll see. I'm 20, by the way. That happened. I know it might not look like it because I shaved. I know a lot of you guys were growing accustomed to the facial hair, and I certainly was too. But I'm really bad at maintaining facial hair. Like, I'm good buzzing everything up here, but then for whatever reason, I can just never seem to control the hairs down here. And so the neck beard was starting to become, like, man, just some of the hairs were like really awkwardly long, and I was just like, I'm not going to like go through and do any snips. I don't want to like dedicate a whole lot of time to facial hair management. So I just shaved it all off this time, and then it'll grow out evenly again around when Brick Fair rolls around in a few weeks here. So yeah, that's another thing that's happening. Brick Fair, Virginia, 2018, August 1st through the 5th, I think are the dates this year. And I will be there, begrudgingly. I will be there. I say begrudgingly for a number of reasons. I've been going to Brick Fair every year since the year 2010. Just think about that. 9 Brick Fair Virginias. And I went to Brick Fair Alabama in the year 2012. So that brings my total Brick Fairs effective this year up to 10. This will be my 10th Brick Fair. And let me tell you, after last year is when it really ran dry for me. It is so awesome seeing all my friends from the community, you know, most of, you know, like my best friends, because I don't know anyone in this general area, I never have. And but then of course also seeing you guys is also always amazing. And that's always been the biggest thing I look forward to every year, are those two things, because that is what makes Brick Fair. But there's just something that became so dull about, because, you know, finally looking around at the convention and being like, wow, it feels like we were here yesterday, and wow, look around, nothing changed, started to become something of a bad thing, because the convention itself, you know, great people, great mocks, incredible creativity running through that building, but finally at that point it was 9 Brick Fairs, it finally ran stale. Which is crazy. The biggest LEGO convention on the Eastern Seaboard ran stale for me, and a lot of us, I think, too. And that's why, you know, a good number of people I don't think are even coming back this year. So we tried to make an effort to go to Brick World this year. Brick World has now passed. Didn't happen. In Chicago. Speaking of which, Celebration Chicago next year, in Star Wars Celebration, that was announced. We'll be going there. That'll be crazy. Finally going to Chicago next year, but it won't be for any LEGO convention. It'll be for Celebration. So we didn't end up going to Brick World in Chicago this year, though. That was last month, and so it became more and more clear as the months went on that Brick Fair was still the most accessible place for everybody to meet up, and so we're still going to Brick Fair this year, man. And so I'm excited to see everybody, but I think on the private days we're just going to spend a lot of time outside of the convention, because it just doesn't really feel like there's anything there for us anymore. You know, the mocks are really cool to a point, but like I said, after a while, it's just like, you know, I could have appreciated this mock just the same if I saw it on Flickr or something, or, you know, it's hard to describe. It's just kind of something, it's a very like minority group feeling for people that have been going to Brick Fair consistently, you know, for a long freaking time. So yeah, I'll be at Brick Fair. Now, Twitter deleted my account. Speaking of me being 20, that was something that happened. May 28th, I'm going to bed. I get a prompt on my timeline. Hey, add your birthday. Get the balloons. I was like, oh yeah, I've never had the balloons. Let me go ahead and do that. Added my birthday, locked my account. I was like, okay. You know, F me, right? And so I got up, immediately started filing appeals and sending in claims, you know, basically saying, hey man, I'm legal. Like, I know Europe just passed some pretty major laws, GDPR, privacy laws, to make sure social networks really comply and make sure everybody's safe and whatever. And Twitter, in an effort to avoid a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit that immediately came down upon both Google and I forget who else, another major social media platform. Google, you know, obviously search engine, you know, massive corporation, not social media, but you know what I mean. Twitter didn't start making money until like just a year and a half ago, I think. And so they couldn't take a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit, so they hastily implemented a feature to weed out the now highly illegal minor accounts. So anybody 13 or younger had to go. Period. End of story. And what happened was anybody, including myself, who made their accounts when they were younger than 13, but have still been on the platform happily using Twitter every day ever since, also got their accounts deleted. So because it showed up that we made once we put in our birthday and revealed that our accounts were made when we were underage, Twitter had an algorithm that, like I said, that they hastily put together to avoid a lawsuit to weed out those accounts. And so you had what was called the Twitter lockout that was created as a result, and I fell victim to it. And so my account was shut down for 41 days. And finally, after a month of sending in appeal after appeal, and keeping up with the situation and all the other people involved, and Twitter finally releasing a statement after 3 weeks, and then after 2 weeks, actually, I think it was, and then they spent 3 more weeks offering no solutions or updates. I saw one girl who used the hashtag Twitter lockout and was like, hey, use the standard locked form, which looks like this. It's just a standard locked form. You fill out your, what happened. You say like, hey, my account's locked. You put in your username, your name, and you put in a picture of your ID. So I was filling out those pretty regularly, and then throughout the month. And then I was also filling out what is the parental consent form, which looks like this, which is more involved. And essentially, it's so ironic because GDPR, this law that Europe created, was to protect your privacy and protect privacy of everybody around the world from social media. And then to recover your account, you have to send in a picture of your ID. And then if you're filling out the parental consent form, just to hopefully, even if you are above age, which is what I was doing, just filling it out for the hell of it, had to submit my mother's email, my mother's ID, and a picture of my original birth certificate. I mean, just craziness. I had to dig it all up out of storage, and to no avail. Nothing ever came of it. I got my account unlocked at one point during the period, but it was still in a locked, suspended state, so I couldn't actually do anything. It wasn't really unlocked. And eventually it got locked again after sending in more appeals in hopes to get their attention. And yeah, so finally a girl was like, hey, I use the standard locked form, but instead of putting in my info, I put in just my mother's, or my dad's, I think it was. And so in my case, I put in my mother's. I put in her email, her ID, just totally all of her stuff instead of mine. Of course, she was totally okay with it. And yeah, then 30 minutes got my account back after 41 days. And it sucked, man, because Twitter in a lot of ways is similar to this channel, where it's a place where I can just hop on and really interact with those of you who are really genuinely excited and passionate about the work I do. And that's what's so amazing about Twitter for me, is just how I don't know, for lack of a better term, confined and how confined it is to just certain groups of people like that, and it's a very it's an awesome platform. And I also keep up with news via Twitter, and so just kind of having that taken away would have sucked, and I certainly wouldn't have been as consistent on Twitter had I not gotten the account back. Thankfully I did, though. So hey, back on Twitter. I've got a big gap in content. It goes May 26th, when I did the recreation of Gamora's death scene. Sorry, spoilers for Infinity War. You should have seen it by now. And then just suddenly picks up with I got my account back on July 8th. So, or actually that was, I got my account back on the 7th. So yeah, Twitter lockout. It sucked. I hope everybody who is experiencing those issues gets their accounts recovered too, because it sucks, man, being locked out of your account when you have, so many years of memories on the platform. So I posted a tweet on my backup account that I was using in the interim. So hopefully anybody that needs help finds the tweet where I explained what happened and how I got it back. So yeah, other than that, man, my room is a thing that I've been setting up. Again, ugly ladder. This is my dad's old painting ladder that he's used probably longer than I've been alive. And yeah, this is only a fraction of my collection, obviously. Some of you guys who've been keeping up with me for a long time know that I have a lot of freaking stuff. Most of my LEGO collection is still in storage, like it's always been since 2014. And my actual room, I haven't added a whole lot to. I hung up most of my Black Series figures here. My hair is like totally messed up. Has it been like that the whole vlog? But then some I didn't actually hang up yet, and I've also got those all hung up. So Funko Pops, same shelf from the apartment. I have it set up the same way. Infinity War poster is still here from when I was shooting the Infinity War review, when I actually, was sat in that chair and actually shot that, me discussing it. I've got all the figures that have been retired in this case. This whole piece was actually left by the previous owners, so hey, that's cool. But then these are all the figures that I'm retiring this year that will no longer be in my display cases for Brick Fair. So yeah, and I actually spent like a day and a half reorganizing those cases that are on my desk, which I'll go back out there and show you. But yeah, I intend on potentially moving this out here and back out into that room, my main room now. Because if you remember, my original room was set up in such a way that like everything was just all over the walls, figures everywhere. It just looked like a freaking comic book store in my original room in the apartment. Hi, Luna. And then, however, now it's going to be different because these walls are just not the right length in certain places to have all the shelves up in here. It's just not laid out the same at all, so I really couldn't have all my shelves in here, which is why they were all set up out there now. But I will be getting some shorter shelves to put up here and also on that wall. And then all my Marvel Legends figures that I've had that originally above the studio are all going to go back up here pretty soon. And so, still look somewhat similar, but I'm definitely going to be having most of my stuff out here, hi Toddy, in the main room now. So moving all this stuff tomorrow so that we can get our Wi-Fi set up and finally get my Xbox set up. I haven't been on Xbox Live since like sometime in April, maybe before that, because I didn't even have time while I was working on Infinity War to hop on GTA or anything. So I'm really excited to get back into doing a little bit of gaming here and there again. It's been way too long, man. Gaming is really therapeutic, I'll tell you that. Having been off of my Xbox for that long has not been overly great, not even having that option to hop on there and just be like, hey, let's play some GTA for an hour. It's just kind of sucked, man, not being able to game at all. But yeah, these are all the featured Marvel Legends figures that I have set up right now. I got Infinity War Spider-Man right there. My friend Eric sent that out to me right around when that came out. And then I also got the Hot Toys Anakin Skywalker, now one of my favorite collectibles, considering Anakin Skywalker is my favorite pop culture character of all time. Hot Toys made him and announced it in August last year and finally shipped it out just a couple months ago. And it's been pretty awesome, man. I got him set up to Sideshow Captain Rex and all the other clones that I've had over the years. But yeah, I think that's it though. Infinity Gauntlet up there, Dark Knight Cowl, Lens Flares, Hulkbuster, all new additions. Not the Dark Knight Cowl, that's been there. But yeah. Oh yeah, cases, reorganize them. These are my display cases now. You probably won't notice the difference because I never really showed these anyway. But I did reorganize these extensively. I mean, the layout changed drastically, and now it's all mostly current figures in here, as opposed to old figures that I retired that you saw in the last room. So now I've got the Infinity War figures in here, which I'll probably wind up pulling out pretty soon because I am still actively taking pictures of those and making new designs of them to add to the store. And then there's Killmonger and Okoye now in there as well. But if you've ever wondered what I do with my figures, in case you've never really seen vlogs over here, that's it, man. They go in the cases right next to my desk, and I display my little 1.5-inch pieces of craftsmanship. And I've also, you might have noticed, not been using this space to stand up figures anymore. I just, after Infinity War, I was taking so many figures of those minifigures that I just. What did I just say? Did I just say I was taking minifigures of minifigures? I don't know what I just said. I was taking so many images and pictures of the Infinity War figures that I just, they were never over here. And so I just, this space was always empty. So I just never really refilled that area and lined them all up. And honestly, I don't know that I ever will. I honestly kind of prefer having them nice and dust-free in the display cases. So we'll see where all that goes. I also did get the Ant-Man and the Wasp Marvel Legends figures as well. So I'm going to be figuring out where I'm going to hang those up. Probably right there, and then I'll move a couple of those figures somewhere else. And then these boxes are actually the rest of my Marvel Legends figures that are all in here. So yeah, man, I think that is it for this super long vlog. I figured, you know, it was going to be a long vlog considering I haven't uploaded in forever, and you might have also noticed throughout the length of this vlog that I've had that shirt there, the MGF shirt. That's was just thrown up there, honestly, because I just didn't, I just haven't hung the Infinity War poster, that's where the Infinity War poster is going to go, but I just haven't gotten around to it, so I just put the shirt there. So, yeah. That's it though, man. I'm going to get back to watching Markiplier play some horror games while working on Ant-Man and the Wasp, and should be pretty great. So, thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being so, you know, passionate about the creative work that I've always done here, and that you actually came back, clicked on this vlog, and have been watching for what has probably already been half an hour. So, I'm going to make sure I don't forget to upload this, get it uploading, you know, through the night, so that it'll be up tomorrow, and then I can finally stop worrying about upload times, and it should be great. And also, have you ever heard the legend of Darth Plagueis the Wise? That's a figure that I still have sealed. Oh man. Still not soaked. Should have been.